तुम आए हो न शबे इंतजार गुजरी है, तलाश में है सहर बार बार गुजरी है। जनू में जितनी भी गुजरी है, बकार गुजरी है। अगरचे दिल में खराबी हजार गुजरी है। हुई है इजरत नासे से गुफ्तगू जिस शब, हुई है हजरत नासे से गुफ्तगू जिस शब, वो शब जरूर सर कुए यार गुजरी है। वो बात सारे फसाने में जिसका जिक्र न था, वो बात सारे फसाने में जिसका जिक्र न था, वो बात उनको बहुत नागवार गुजरी है। न गुल खिले हैं न उनसे मिले, न माई पी है। न गुल खिले हैं न उनसे मिले, न माई पी है। वो बात अजीब रंग में अब के बाहर गुजरी है। न गुल खिले हैं न उनसे मिले, न माई पी है। अजीब रंग में अब के बाहर गुजरी है। चमन पे गारत गुलची से जाने क्या गुजरी, कफस से आज सबा बेकरार गुजरी है। Good evening and welcome to Shitalath Conversation, Sunday evening, 7 p.m. IST show. This is your host, Jugal Cole, speaking from the threshold of Shitalath Conversations. I'm so pleased and so grateful that you all have once again joined together in the new year in our January show. This is our first January show of 226, and this is 121st chronological show of Shitalath Conversation, which started almost 5 years back in April 2021. So this has been a beautiful, romanticizing journey. I'm like that, bicycle wala, just revolving that lever and making all the people, all the seekers, and all the followers of the Shitalath Conversations to visit the spots of our civilization in a time frame, in different time spaces, and millennia, bygone centuries, and we try to explore, and we have been reasonably able to do justification with whatever we are searching for, with the authenticity, integrity, research, and bringing the people of very prominence, people who have attributed something to the public life, and who have a very tall stature as far as their research and work is concerned. So we have talked about art, we have talked about culture in many shows, and we have talked about literature, musicology, legends, harbingers. We have talked about the languages, we have talked about the phonetics, we have talked about all this folk memory and stories, and through anecdotal mode, through a very simplified anecdotal mode. That's how it has been. And ecology is, we have talked in one of our subjects, we have talked about ecology also. We have talked about those people who hail from this part of the India, who have went into the different other places and have risen to the powers of eminence during the undivided India and in the post-independence India. So this is a wonderful journey. I really relish everyone's contribution as a spectator, as a commentators, as their messages to my personal message boxes, and their searches and their queries about the subjects of these programs and conversations. It really fills me with immense delight and pride that finally we all together with esteemed people are able to move and into this odyssey of exploration in time and space. They say that this planet Earth, this tectonic plates below, they change the whole sphere of the creation of volcanoes, and they created the subcontinents, and then some continents were connected at one point of time, and some continents they separated. Like Australia was connected, and it is said that in most ancient times there are some scriptures were predated to the history, and yet a lot of research is to be done, and there are new explorations happening every time. And having said that, we certainly want to explore one area that is about the Vedic and its later practices and science of distinctly visible in present day art, culture, and practices of Far and Middle East. So that is what we probably are looking for in today's show. We must be remembering the fire worshipping or reverence to the agencies and elements of nature, uh, including sun, fire, was once a common practice in Persia, invoked till date in the Zoroastrian people and those people who, I mean, ran away from, most of them who ran away from Iran after the Turkic invasions. And we know the stories of Gandhars, uh, Babylonia, Iraq, the current day Iraq, Mesopotamian civilization, and we have also heard that settled. There are many stories around there. Some are based on factual evidences, archaeological evidences, historical evidences, linguistic evidences. But we have also heard that Yadavas, they settled into the Central Asia around the Oxa River, and then there are, after Mahabharata especially, that happened. And besides that, we know about this Vedic period and Atharvaveda and Rig Veda practiced in the Iranian area, and there are still some practices going on. You can see some temples of sun worshipping in India and Iran. They are common. The fire worshipping is common. Yoga, Havana is common. We have heard about Sapta Sindhu. They call it Hapta Hindu or something like that. So this today's theme is about the Vedic civilizational roots of Central and West Asia. In a broader way, it's a panorama of shared cultural, linguistic, and spiritual legacy. Today's theme is wondrous and fascinating as it is challenging. It demands a deep, careful plunge into the authentic historical and cultural scholarship, guided by a rare authority of integrity and lived scholarship. To truly resonate with the spirit of this profound inquiry, a meaningful and thoughtful engagement to host such a candid and insightful conversation with a personality of global eminence, Padma Shri, Dr. K.N. Pandita, a beacon of scholarship and one of the highest authority on the subject that has been engaged today. Dr. K.N. Pandita is a distinguished scholar of world eminence and authority on Central Asian and Iranian studies, a renowned Persian historian, translator, literature, veteran human rights activist, and an acclaimed author. In recognition of his outstanding contributions to the Persian and the Central Asian studies, Dr. Pandita has been conferred with Padma Shri, one of India's highest civilian honors. He is also a recipient of the prestigious Sovietland Nehru Award, and among many other recognitions and awards and rewards, he has been also honored with Saadi Award by the then Iranian embassy. Widely regarded as a vital intellectual bridge and cultural ambassador in Indo-Iranian relationship, Dr. Pandita earned his PhD from Tehran University under a very profound and a very brilliant encyclopedia of that time, Zabullah Safasa. So we have done some programs and conversation in this regard. He has authored and translated several remarkable and invaluable works, written articles. There's a lot of literature available other than the books. Those wonderful books include Baharistan-e-Shahi, a chronicle of medieval Kashmir. I think this book, translation and notes and this further research by Dr. Pandita has established a very different panorama, which was probably iron curtained till the time it was not translated. It was closed down. Nobody read about it. Nobody knew about it. And then Tuhfatul Abab, Kashmiri, Tuhfatul Abab is another one, which is very stunning, translation, the research. And then his book, Kashmiri Pandits Through Fire and the Brimstone, 10 studies in the history and politics of Kashmir, and his well-known travelogue, My Tajik Friends. Born in Baramulla, an alumnus from Punjab University, Tehran University, Dr. Pandita served as professor and the founder director of the Center for Central Asian Studies, University of Kashmir. He has also been featured twice on the Sheetalnath Conversation show under the category of rarest of the rare personality. It is truly a privilege to explore today's theme with such an extraordinary scholar as Dr. Pandita. So let's invite to this studio Dr. Pandita with great reverence and great affection. Dr. Saab, You are welcome to the Sheetalnath Conversations 121st show. It is really a great honor to receive you on this show and welcome you on this show. And I'm really grateful and we are really thankful.
Thank you, my friend, Mr. Carl. You have introduced me in glowing words. I am very much scared if I will be able to do justice to all the praises you have made about me. I'm a humble scholar interested in Central Asian studies. I mean, the Himalayan ranges and the Central Asian vast lands. Uh, my field of study of research in Tehran University was the peoples of Persian and Perso-Turkish speaking regions, their culture, history, and civilization. So that gave me an insight of knowing what our ancient, medieval, and contemporary relations with Central Asian region. Thank you very much for calling me to express some of my views on our connection, India's connection with Central Asia or the Farsi, Tajik, Dari speaking peoples. They occupy a vast land which has now come into prominence in contemporary history and politics and regional strategies. Our
Dr. Saab,
relations with
before we move further, naturally our pragmatic and our conventional route is to move through the history and the geography and the culture and the spirituality and the modern relevance. And to start with today's show, I really wanted to know, first of all, to begin with, when we talk about Vedic Indian roots in relation to the Central Asian and West Asia, what are the visible archaeological, linguistic, and textual sources that scholars can rely upon? And after that, you can begin the entire history. Especially, we can start from the West Asia, and then we'll move to the Central Asia.
Okay, well, when we talk about geographical regions and relations in these regions, we must, for the time being, forget the present geography and go to ancient geography, which is somewhat different from what we have today.
Right.
And the earliest works produced in India which speak about geographical relations are the Vedas. In Rig Veda, for example, we get the certain place names like Gandhara, Bahalika, Cambodia, etc. Gandhara, as we know, is present-day Kandahar in the
Afghanistan.
south of Kabul in Afghanistan. And about Bahalika, which is repeatedly mentioned in Rig Veda as well as in Atharva Veda, Bahalika is present-day Balkh, which is a prominent city in the west of Afghanistan. Afghanistan, as such, is a very recent word, which has developed from Afghans. The Afghans are the people who lived in a certain region to which they gave the name of Afghanistan. Otherwise, its ancient names are different. And the third name, Cambodia, which Rig Veda as well as Atharva Veda tell us, they speak about Cambodia, it is the region which in present day can be called the Hindu Kush Pamir and Hindu Kush region. This region has been very important called Cambodia region because uh, this region was later on named by the Greeks as Bactria. And in Persian histories, it is called Bakhtar. So by Bakhtar, the Bakhtar has been used by the Afghans in their histories, and uh, they have the Bakhtar Airways, for instance, and the
Yes.
Bakhtar Hotel, and many place names in Afghanistan area are called Bakhtar or Bactria,
Right.
coming from bacteria. And later on, after the death of Alexander, Bactria became sort of a satrapy or a what we may call an independent or sovereign, small sovereign state, but had great influence on the entire region. Uh, Another source which also corroborates with the historical narrative given by Rig Veda and Atharvaveda is Avesta.
Yes.
Avesta is the ancient work of Iranians, of Zoroastrians, the fire worshippers. We shall have to go back to Iranian history as well because it's connected with our history in terms of culture, in terms of geography, in terms of interaction, and many religious ceremonies. The Zoroastrians are fire worshippers, and fire, as you know, is very important natural element discussed in Vedas. And the fire worshipping has been recognized as one of the practices, important practices of the Aryans. As we come to the Aryans, uh, we have we are now engaged in a very serious debate about aliens, the origin of aliens and their movement towards south, towards north, towards east or west, whatever.
Yes,
The
there is a
alien or or Arya, as it's called in Iran, it is called Air and then Iran. Air in Vista means a free man, a man who is not enslaved by any other tribe. It's called
right.
air. And the plural of air in Avistic language is by adding on. So it makes Iran. The proper exact pronunciation of the word in Persia, in Iran, is Iran. And this is
Iran.
exactly the pronunciation used by Tajiks today in Dushanbe, in Kujan, in all the cities, prominent cities of Tajikistan. They don't pronounce it as Iran, they pronounce it as Iran. So I means free. And Ferdowsi, in his uh, great work, epic work, Shahnama, uses Iran parallel to the free world, free men, men who are not under the control of any other community.
And
Now,
before that, it was Persia. I mean, Persian name has also some connotation which resembled into the ancient, contours of this Oriental, the Vedic period, Vedic times, or post Vedic times. Yeah.
yes, uh, now the question arises about the movement of aliens. From where did they arise, and where did they go, and why did they move? About this is an important question, which is very much debated in historical circles and uh, other research organizations or efforts.
Yes.
There are two opinions at present. One is that the Aryans never came to India. They were Indians in their right, and from India they went to other parts of Central Asia. That
Yes, that is
theory is propounded by some Indian scholars and some Western scholars as well. But Sankratayana says that the Aryans did not come here; they were the Indians who had moved to Central Asia. That's one story. The
Indians
second
who went to
story,
Central Asia.
which is more prominent, is that of Max Muller. In 1884, a German scholar, Mr. Max Muller, he came out with this story that the Aryans are the original inhabitants on the basin of river Oxus. Now,
Oxford.
river Oxus has been the name given to the river which flows today in Tajikistan. From the Badakhshan Mountains, it
Badakhshan.
moves towards north. So it is called, in their language, it is called Amu. And in Arab histories, it's a different name. It is called Jaihun by Arab historians, but the Greek historian Herodotus calls it Oxus.
It
So
has been also it has been
Amu
also
and
known as Amu
Jaihun and Oxus,
and
these
Amu
are,
also. Amu Darya also was also
yes,
known as
Amu
Amu.
is the original name of the river. That is how,
Okay.
that's what the Tajiks call it, Amu River. It's a
Amu.
big, huge river. Now, the people living in around Amur River were called aliens. And even today in Tajikistan, the Tajikistan, as we know, is ethnically different from Uzbekistan and other four republics: Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Eastern Turkestan, the Uyghurs who live now in China. They are different. They are mostly from the same ethnic group from which Iranians are. That's the Aryan ethnic group. And their pronunciation, their language is very much akin to Avestic in ancient times of the Persian language, which is called the sister language of Sanskrit. Sanskrit was the language which the Aryans brought with them. For those Aryans who came to India, they adopted Sanskrit language, whereas those who went to Iran from Central Asia to the rest of Central Asian region, that's Iran, they gave it the name of Avesta, Avestic language. And then one group migrated to northwest, that is the European region, and they are called Indo-European Aryans. So we have three different groups of Aryans in different regions, speaking a language which they coined, but in essence, they are all connected to mother tongue, that is Sanskrit.
They are
So
like the satellite cousins to each other.
satellite, yes, of course. So
Satellite.
pronunciation has changed, and in many aspects, the meaning has also changed. For example, jama or jam in Avestic is the short abbreviation of Jamshid. Jamshid is the name, and its short is Jam. Now, Jamshid is considered by Iranians as something like of a god, the god of light, because it is made of Jam plus shade. So it makes Jam shade. Shade is the Sanskrit of
It's
Sanskrit
just
origin from Shveta. Shveta in Sanskrit means white.
Shweta,
Yeah, Shveta, which is Safed.
white, yeah.
In Shwet. Shwet in Sanskrit means white. So, white Shweta has been accepted as shade. Jam shade means jam, the white. So, according to Iran, Jamshed is the white god, a god, a heavenly being. And unfortunately, this Jam becomes Yam in Sanskrit. In
In such,
Sanskrit language, the world, the part of the Aryans who spoke Sanskrit, they
yes, yes.
changed, it became Yam. It became a negative term, Yam, and then Yama. So in this way, we have the linguistic survey will show that there was a closeness between India, the Sanskrit-speaking world, and the uh, and the Zoroastrian Avesta-speaking world. We have another word, Hindu Kush, which is the name
Hindu
of a
Kush.
mountain that lies between India and Afghanistan, the north of Afghanistan, partly India, partly Afghanistan. But it is called Hindu Kush. Unfortunately, Kush in Iranian, in Farsi means to kill. Kush
Okay.
means to kill. So a wrong interpretation was given explaining Hindu Kush means the mountain where Hindus were killed,
No,
which is
no.
totally wrong. It is
That is totally
absolutely
wrong.
wrong, and it has nothing to do with killing. It is Kuf. In Avesta, there is Kuf and Ku and Kush. Her turns into Sh sometimes. Her turns into Sh. Hoon in Kashmiri is Shauna in Sanskrit. So Sh and Her are interchangeable. So it was Hindu Kuf. Hindu Kuh means
Hindu Kush.
Indian mountain, not killing of Hindus. Nothing to do with that. But this is, one has to understand Avestic language
And
and
what
culture.
about this Hapta Hindu,
Yes,
Sapta Sindhu
yes,
and Sapta Hindu? Yeah.
yes. The Aryans, early Aryans who came to India, they gave it the name Sapta Sindhu. Sapta is a Sanskrit word, means river, seven. Sapta means seven. From,
Seven rivers.
yes, in
And
Kashmiri
land
we
is
say
seven rivers.
Sat. In Kashmiri we say Sat. That is Sapta. And Sindhu is a Sanskrit word which means river. Mind you, it does not specifically mean only the Sindhu River which flows
Indus.
today, which is
Not
called Indus.
only Indus. This means
No,
the rivers, seven
every
rivers.
every river is called Sindhu. You see, the
This was the entire
Krishna
Punjab
Ganga,
was there. Jhelum,
Krishna
Punjab,
Ganga, to which Pakistan has now given the name of Neelam. Its original name is Krishna Ganga. And
Krishna,
Kalan speaks of Sindhu. He called it Sindhu. So he says at a certain place, Sindhu and Madhumati, they join,
Madhumati. Yeah,
where you
that's a
have the
good.
Sharda, where you have the
Nada
Sharda
is
now,
Madhumati. Yeah.
you know. So Sindhu is river. And in Kashmiri, we have the word Sand. Sand
And
is from Sindhu, means a river. Therefore, Sapt Sindhu means seven rivers, which include Saraswati. Now, Saraswati is very important because Rig Veda mentions about Saraswati, which later on has disappeared for various geographical reasons. Maybe there was some earthquake and it got transferred, redirected to somewhere else, but very much is in Rig Veda, in Athra Veda, and in subsequent Sanskrit literature, literary works, Sapta Sindhu has been mentioned as seven rivers. The present five rivers which we have, plus the
two.
Attak River, the river that comes from Kabul, and Saraswati. So this makes seven rivers. They call it Sapta Sindhu. That is the explanation of Sapta Sindhu. In Avesta, we have
Avesta.
Avesta, we have uh, a, an important chapter which is called Vindidad. Vendida, that is the name of the chapter. Vendida gives us a very elaborate information about the vast region which they connect to right India up to Patliputra, from Patliputra right up to Gandhara, right up to Bhakti Bulk. In Rig Veda, it is called Bakri, and now we call it Bulk. So this is one whole region, and the Rig Veda, whenever it talks of uh, the path, the geographical path, patha. Path means path. That means the whole region where you can travel right from Patliputra up to Balkh and then to other regions. The names in Rig Veda and other Sanskrit literary ancient works of the region are different from what we know today. For example, Afghanistan does not exist anywhere, but Aryana exists. The land of aliens is called Aryana. The Afghanistan Airways is called Aryana Airways, you know. And similarly, we have Sogd. Sogd uh, is the Vedic name of the valley of Samarkand River. Today, if you go to Samarkand, they don't call it Samar, they say Sogdiana or Sogd. Sogd are the people who live in Samarkand Valley. So it is called Sogdiana. Oh, like the name is given in Rig Veda, I am talking about Rig Veda. And then the region between uh, the of present-day Afghanistan and Tajikistan. This whole region is a mountainous region. In Rig Veda, it is called Tukharistan. Tukhara.
Sukhara.
From Tukhara, we have Tukharistan. Stan is added to many countries. Hindustan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. So Sthana is a Sanskrit word. Stan
Sthana.
means place.
It is
Stan.
place.
Stan or Stan is place. So it
It
is
is it is a pure Sanskrit word. Sthana.
Thana is
Sthana.
Sanskrit word.
Chumano
Similarly,
Tan ban gaya, Tan. Now it has become Tan. Pakistan.
exactly. Similarly, we have another word, Kand, Samarkand. Uh,
Samarkand.
the word Kand is from Sanskrit origin Khand. Khand means region, part. Khand. It
Khand.
means a part. So this has been added. So Samarkand and Tashkand, these are the actually
Khand. Regions.
Khandas. So
Regions.
that is drawn from from Sanskrit. This is the relation between Sanskrit and Avestic language.
Uh, this is also said, Dr. Saab, it is said that the Yadavas, tribes of Yadavas, post Mahabharata, as per Puranic, connection, Yadavas, they went to this Oxus River. They came from India after post Mahabharata. They left for and lived across around on the both shores of the Oxa River in the Central Asia. How correlate you do you correlate with this one, this mythological tale which is prevalent, especially in the Puranas?
You see, many people, many hordes came from north into India through Afghanistan road. And these hordes left behind impressions and their communities also. In India, we have a verse from an Urdu poet, Firaq Gorakhpuri. He
Ragu.
says, uh, uh, he says a verse, which I don't remember the first and second is, सरजमीन हिंद पर अक़वाम आलम से फिराक काफिले आते गए हिंदुस्तान बनता गया.
Ah. क्या
ये
बात है।
काफिले आते गए. कौन काफिले थे? Which were? They were the hordes. They were the people. Kushans, Huns, Turks, Mongols, uh, and then Pathans, Pashtuns. So many people came and settled down in India. काफिले आते गए, हिंदुस्तान बनता गया. So
But there is,
Yadavas,
Doctor Sahab, there
Yadavas
is,
are
yes,
also they are
yes,
also mentioned in Rig Veda as one of the community that have come from Central Asia. Now the tribes have had their names. Even today, if you go to northwest frontier, you have Yusufzai, you have in Afghanistan,
Yusuf
so
Zai,
many.
Pathans.
Yusufzai. Zai means Zaida. Zaida in Avesta means born. Born in the family of Yusuf. They are called Yusufzai. So uh, you, so we have other tribes like Yadavas, and so many tribes are there mentioned in the Vedas, which have ultimately settled in India, and they then became either rulers, satraps, or commanders, whatever. That is the story about the Yadavas.
But don't you think this was an extension of India as because the cultural roots were that of whether it was Buddhism or whatever it was Sanatan, these paramparas were established and they were practiced by these kings, whether they were in Syria, whether they were in especially Kushans and Kanishka and all in their rule. The second Buddhist conference happened, third Buddhist World Conference happened in Kashmir. So in a way, it was all culturally an extended India, you could say.
Exactly, you are right. You are right.
Genetically, they might be different, yeah.
Culturally, it was India's extension, and because India is a plain land. It is not mountainous; it's a plain land, and
Plain land.
it is inundated by rivers. So it became a cultural hub from which culture went out towards south, where you have Southeast Asian culture. You have so many countries, Laos and Vietnam
Yes.
and other countries in the Southeast
Far East,
Asia,
we
which
had a
is called
program on that with Subhash
Greater
Taggi.
India always. But that is later development. After
That's a
the
later
push,
one.
after the settlements were made in India, and then they expanded southwards, southeast. But
Yes.
before that, and Rig Veda, which is 4,000 years back, Rig Vedic age, at that time, India's extension had been towards the north and northeast. Uh, One important factor which we must remember is that the Aryans became sedentary. After they settled in India, they became sedentary. Sedentary means who sat at one place. And then they cultivated the land and raised crops and made their life. They would not move. But the Central Asian tribes, because of geographical changes,
Mountainous
yes,
restrictions,
because the grasslands where they fed their sheep and
pastures.
reared their sheep and cattle, they became dry. Rivers changed their course because of heat. They changed their Amu, which is oxus. It changed its course, and the lands became dry, and they could not. It could not become sustainable. Therefore, they had to migrate, leaving their cattle back, and they had to migrate and explore new regions in like Iran, Mesopotamia, Afghanistan, India, so forth and so on. So, uh, uh, so Indian extension of Indian culture and Indian connectivity with this whole Central Asia has been a great history. Our connections came to a standstill after the partition of India in a way when Pakistan was created because India's and Pakistan's relations did not go well for had not been going well right from partition. Therefore, our direct connection with Central Asia was hampered. So India has been trying to find out new routes for connectivity, like Bandar Abbas and Khorramshahr, and then uh, Afghanistan, Helmand Valley, Afghanistan to Kabul, and then to Turkmenistan in Central Asia. That is the new thing. But maybe a day comes when there will be direct connectivity between India and Central Asia in future.
because we have a cultural ancient cultural connect, and we have a genetic connect also, because people from here went there and people from there came here. I mean, maybe it took 100 years or 300 years or 700 years to have this recycling, but it happened. Somewhere down the line we are connected, you know.
We have two aspects of our connectivity. One
Right.
is the Avestic, that is the fire worshippers,
Fire
the
worshippers.
Parsis who came from Iran and settled in India on the western coast of India. And later on, the Parsis, they worked hard to the extent that today Parsis are considered a very prosperous and very active community in India,
Indian Indians,
like
yes.
Tata and all those people.
And they have
Tata
adopted they have adopted all the cultural traits of Indian cultural traits,
India.
the wear, the cloth, the attire, everything. And now
Exactly,
they are
that's
going for
one.
cremation. Now they go for cremation also. I mean, they don't find it
Yes,
blasphemy,
yes,
because the earlier tradition of leaving dead to these people, the vultures, that is gone now. So it was
correct.
creating environmental hazard. So now they are doing cremation like all Hindus do. So they adopted to this culture. Yeah.
Yes, the second link is of Buddhism. Buddhism went from India to Afghanistan and to Central Asia and then to Mongolia, etc., which is a very important link in our cultural relationship. At Balkh, for example, Balkh, which was a hub of Silk Route in ancient times. In Balkh, Indians had raised a very beautiful big uh, vihara, which was called Nava Vihara, and Persians gave
Now we
it
are.
the name Navbahar, the
Now we are.
temple, the Vihara of Navbahar. When the Abbasid caliphs assumed power in Iraq, in Baghdad, they sent their troops for the capture of Navbahar because it was a renowned center of culture and learning, Indian culture and learning. It was actually a Buddhist center. So those who were running the center, they were called Pramukh. Pramukh is a Sanskrit word which means prominent. They were prominent scholars and researchers and wise people, partly from India, from Kashmir, and partly from present-day Himachal Pradesh. You
Himachal
have
Pradesh,
pramukhs in
Kashmir.
Himachal, you have pramukhs in Kashmir also. So those pramukhs went and served as the chief Buddhist monks, superior monks at Balkh. When Balkh was captured by the Abbasid forces, they wrote back to Khalifa al Mansur that they have captured the keepers of the Balkh, Balkh Vihara. They were arrested and taken to Baghdad, where uh, where Mansur found them very, very intelligent, very educated, and well-learned men. So they showed them great respect, but converted them. After conversion, these pramukhs were called Abu Sal. Remember, so very interesting. Pramukhs are the same which in English literature you have barmaks or barmecides. So they were very capable and eminent people, and they told the Caliph, Abbasid Caliph, Harun and Mamun, Khalifa Harun and Mamun, they told him, look, If you want to become famous in the world, you must bring the Greek knowledge to the Islamic world. They said, how can we do this? And then Harun gave him complete permission, complete authority to establish something, some university or some institution where the Greek books of philosophy could be translated into Arabic. And then in Baghdad, notification was issued that those who are polyglots, those who know many languages, especially Greek and Arabic, they are welcome. They were brought to Greek. Some people were brought from India also, Northwest India also. And then an institution called the House of Knowledge. In Arabic, it is called Baitul Hikmat. Bayat means house, Hikmat means philosophy. In this Baitul Hikmat, great Greek works of great Greek scholars, Aristotle, Plato, Longinus, and Socrates, so many. They were all translated into Arabic and transported to the Arabic world. And Ibn Sina or Avicenna, the greatest philosopher of Islamic world, who lived somewhere in Central Asia, he says that I visited Ghazna, where there was a big library where Greek books translated into Arabic were deposited. So I read all philosophy, Greek philosophy, learned from those books. And then he himself was one of the pioneers who spread the Greek philosophy in the Muslim world. So that's one contribution originally made by the Indians, the Barmaks of Balkh.
And
Close to Balkh is the mountain called Bamiyan, where the world's largest statue of Buddha was carved
destroyed
from the rock. It was about 360 feet tall.
one of the largest. It was built probably in the Kanishka's time.
By the Taliban in their first stint. When they came to power in 1996 for the first time, they, unfortunately, some of the people destroyed the Buddha temple, for which they regretted later on, and UNESCO had designated it as a World Heritage.
Yes, Druze community of that period of Lebanon, which they worshipped a deity, a bluish deity of that is a complete resemblance to the Vishnu, God Vishnu. And similarly, you have in Syria also, we can see the Arabic world, Syria and Turkey during Mitanni kingdom, and they worshipped Varuna, Indra, Mitra. They were all the the forces of nature or the agencies of nature. How in Vedic times they were probably revered or worshipped.
Sun, Surya, it is in Sanskrit we have the word Mitra for it. Mitra. And then in Avestic we have Mitra. And from Mitra we get the Persian word Mehr. And the last ruler of Iran, Muhammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, he assumed the title of Arya Mehr. Arya Mehr means the son of Aryan people. He adopted this sobriquet, this title for himself. In Samarkand, we have a great mosque, a great madrasa. It's a madrasa school. On the front piece, I have myself seen it, on the front piece of this madrasa, is a huge, big madrasa. On the front piece, there is shown the sun and the lion with a sword in hand. This emblem, sun emblem is there, and in a town in Tajikistan.
Your camera slightly upward. You're slightly gone down. I mean, it is there, but yeah, slightly upward. Slightly upward. Yes, 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 sir.
Okay.
Please.
So that has been gone. That has been noted as the sun symbol of sun. So the sun worshipping or Meher Parasti. Meher means sun. Meher Parasti means sun worship was very prominent in whole of Central Asia and in
India.
Iran also, where they call it Mitra or Meher
Mitra.
Parasti. That is from India. And
Like
likewise,
Martand in Kashmir, in Odisha also temple. We have the sun temple, sun worship temples.
Martand in Kashmir, you see, Kashmir Hindu temple architecture is indebted to partly to Greek architecture as well.
Okay.
Not only original. It is a mixed architecture, and Greek influence is to be
Synthesis.
found not only in Marthan but in the ruins of Sharda temple in Shardi now, which is now in POK. Yeah, in
Sharpa, yes.
Neelam Valley.
Geographical, we are talking about the linguistic and textual connections, a core pillar of serious discussion, Sanskrit and Avasthan. Tell us about the shared origins, because normally it is said that, as you earlier said, you already cleared it, that they departed and probably they were like satellite cousins. Some went into the Iran, but Iran, like India, like Indian kingdoms, Maurya and other great kingdoms Indian had in the ancient times, when Hindu, the Sanatan was Sanatan. We can not say Sanatan, we can say Vedic religions were very predominant and its subcurrents were very predominant. In that time also, Iran was also going very illustrious to an illustrious stage of culture, seat of traditions. And then the invasion of the Mongols and the Turks, finally, I mean, it was a kind of I mean, it denigration of its original traditional culture, and they took this language Persian and used it in the courts like the Mughals used it, like in Kashmir, like in North India also. When we have the invaders ruled here, they used this Persian language as their language. They could have used their own language as well. Why did they prefer Persian?
You see, we have a incorrect notion about the origin of Mughals of India.
Right.
They were not
Mongols.
the Mongols of Central Asia, but a branch of the people mixed
Hybrid.
with mixed culture, with mixed ethnicity, and they are called Uyghurs, and their center is in Xinjiang, what you call the Xinjiang today under Chinese control. That was called Eastern Turkestan.
Yes.
The Babur was from Fargana, not exactly from Fargana, but from the Fargana Valley. Fargana Valley was inhabited by the Uyghurs, many Uyghurs, who later on shifted to Xinjiang or Eastern Turkestan. Babur's relatives were mostly in Eastern Turkestan. So Mughals did not speak Farsi, they spoke Uyghur language or Chagatai. It was called Chagatai language. They
Chagatai.
wrote in Chagatai. Babur has written his biography in Chagatai, Babur Nama. And similarly, Jahangir also wrote his biography in Chagatai, which was
We have
later
an
on
author. We have an author, Ismat Chugtai. Ismat Chugtai was an author, very famous author of in partition time. I don't know whether probably there is any relevance with this name and Chugtai empires. Yeah, language.
Yes. So these works were translated from Chagatai into Persian to Farsi because Chagatai is very close to Farsi. That is about the Mongols. The Mongols were the Mughals. And the word Mughal is not to be found in Persian literature anywhere. But
It's
it is
nowhere.
India's construction. They call themselves Mughals.
We are the
So
Mughals.
Mughal, but Iranian historians always wrote them Moghulani Gurkhan. Moghulani Gurkhan.
Gorkha.
Gurkhan is a Turkish word. Gurkhan is a Turkish word which means son-in-law. Jamatar jisko कहते हैं,
Zamtar.
son-in-law, because they had married in a Mongol tribe, and the progeny which developed from that marriage, from which Babur and his whole family dynasty came came to came to live in India. They are called Mughali Gurkhani. Iranians tell them Gurkhani. That is the epithet Iranian historians have given them. And in ethnic terms, these Turks are these Uyghurs are quite different from either the Uzbek or the Kazakh or the Tajik people. They have different physical features, and they are known for their warrior qualities, skills, fighting skills, and horse riding. Horse has played a very important role when we connect ourselves with Central Asia. The
India and
horse
Central Asia.
was brought from Central Asia because the Indian kings always used elephant in their wars, and the Central Asian hordes, they used the horse, not the elephant.
But the
Whether it's Kushans,
Ashwamedha Yagya, I mean,
Ashwamedha, yes,
the sacrifice of horses, this is prevalent.
From
This was
word Ashwa, we get the Farsi word Asp. Asp in Farsi means horse. It's from Ashwa. So Ashwa, it was later on adopted by Indians, and then the Mauryas established the tradition of Ashwa,
and
Ashwamedha.
Yagya. They used to sacrifice in a horse,
Yes.
Ashwamedha Yagya. And it was similar tradition which was there in Iran as well. Yeah. At one point of time.
Yeah. So we have a lot of material on this subject. We get a lot of information from Firdausi Shahnama, apart from Vendidad, which is a chapter which is summary of Avesta. Apart from that, apart from Atharvaveda and Rigveda, we get information from Shahnama of Firdausi.
Shahnama.
Yes, yes.
What about the archaeological symbols which talk about this past shared glory? We have Bacteria Margiana Archaeological Complex (BMAC) tells us about the Indo-Vedic connections. Or
One important question which has remained unresolved so far is that Rigveda or any Veda makes no mention, absolutely no mention of ancient Sindh culture, what you call the Mohenjo-daro culture. They have not talked about it. That means Mohenjo-daro pre-existed Rigveda, because
yes,
there's no mention. Rigveda pre-exists Mohenjo-daro. There's no mention of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa in Rigveda.
that is a wonderful thing which you are saying, which I was also presuming, because it cannot be. I mean, it has always to be proto, because there is no mention in the Mohenjo-daro, this complete this civilization about all these Rigvedic, So,
No.
but it has a connection with the Saraswati River, because there's a mention of Saraswati River in the Rigveda.
Yes, I said that Saraswati has been mentioned in Atharvaveda as one of the rivers of Saptasindhu, but later on it disappeared. Though those who are making certain researches in Saraswati
Disappearance.
in the Brahmins, Saraswat Brahmins of
Source of them.
Kashmir, and they are trying to find the location of Saraswati because they think that this was the holy river, and from this river sprang, on its banks sprang the Saraswat Brahmin tribes. They are trying to make a research, and sometimes they say it went looped. Looped means invisible.
Invisible,
Somewhere
disappear.
in Sindh, somewhere in present day Sindh in Pakistan.
Probably the glacier was dried up, the source was dried up, or the diverted below the ground, or some tectonic movement as well. And there is something saying that there was a great flood, Nohan flood, Noah. They say the flood
Ah,
of Noah.
yes,
There's a mention in different religions, Roman as well as. So there was something. Something must have happened in that time. Some, as
some
we say, the
geographic
geographical.
change has happened, and it has happened in the case of some rivers in Central Asia also. They diverted, they changed their course, and they were lost in that Karakum, black sand.
Hmm.
Karakum. Kara means black. Karakum and Akkum. Akkum means white sand and black sand. They divided the region on the color of the sand of Central Asia.
So this is a very emotionally charged debate of Central Asia and our relationship, and the West Asia of Indian relationship, the shared past, shared origin, this distant cousins or the satellite cousins. So how should we critically approach? How should a scholar or a seeker critically approach this particular, I can say, this particular flight, which brings, in a way, it is a construction towards integration of a uh, human diversity, integration of human diversity. So how should we critically, as a scholar of your eminence, how should a scholar, as a seeker, critically approach it in the contemporary time?
You see, uh, we have to understand that this entire region was inhabited by people of different ethnicities, not one
Yeah,
ethnicity.
right.
So, different ethnicities means each region populated by different ethnic groups had their own local traditions and customs and culture.
Sub-regional, sub-tribal,
Yes, yes.
sub-tribal.
For instance, I have once been in the Badakhshan mountain. I was in Badakhshan mountain.
Hmm.
On the south of Badakhshan mountain, you have Afghanistan and northern Afghanistan. On the north of Badakhshan, you have Tajikistan and parts of Kyrgyzstan. Now, I have lived in this Badakhshan mountain for about a month, many years ago. For 1 month, I lived. I lived with the people there, residing there. To my great surprise, I found that these people were fiercely adjusted to Avistic culture. Sun worship, fire worship.
Sun
They
worship. Right.
worshipped fire, they worshipped water, natural resources. They considered it a sin to waste water and make it dirty or put dirt into it. They would consider it a
That was very
sin.
scientific, sir. That was very scientific. I think
That
agencies of nature to be
yes,
respected. Yeah, that was very
and
scientific. Yeah,
yes, I went to so many families. I stayed with them. The culture was completely Avistic culture. You know, every house, every family had a small fireplace which they worshipped, like the ancient Iranians. So this is one part. This is the mountainous part. But in other regions, in Iran, which is a very fertile vast plateau and productive plateau, the culture developed in a different way and made great progress economically, culturally, and politically. They made great progress. Iran is a very important country.
That's a
Culturally,
very
in the history of
no doubt.
world culture, it has a big role, you know. And similarly, now other parts, Mesopotamia, Iraq, and
Iraq,
these countries, the West Asian countries which are now coming up,
Syria,
they,
and
they were also divided by the groups and satraps. There were so many satrapies, they emerged later on, formed into kingdom of Jordan, like that, kingdom. So these kingdoms and these satrapies later on developed in their own way, with their own traditions and cultures. In, uh, in Iraq, you have we have a group called Yazidis. Yazidis.
Yazidi,
Y-I-Z-I. Yazidis. I
Yazidi.
thought that
I've heard.
Yazidis were the followers of certain Islamic historical personalities. But after we began to read the atrocities committed by the ISIS on Yazidis, we found that they were quite different from the Islamic community that lives in that part of the world, exactly like the Kalash groups in northern northwest frontier province to the west of Chitral. There are also about 5 or 7,000 people, Kalash people, and you can see their culture, their ways of life, their dress, their speeches, their features. By features, they are said to be the progeny of the Greek forces which stayed there after the death of Alexander. So all these regions have different their individual characteristics, individual uh, cultural traits which they develop that forms a mosaic of humanity in West Asia, Mesopotamia, Iran, Central Asia.
When we talk about the practices of the cultural practices, like we have the Homa, Havana here, fire worshipping is here, and then we have the sun worshipping, and we even the Indra worshipping. There was a prevalence during the Vedic period, rain, god of rain, and god of sun, and all these agencies of nature were respected and revered and put, because without sun, I was just yesterday when I was researching and trying to score some point, I found that if there would have not been a sun, we could have never understood what God is. It would have been all dark. So it is a very important intermediary. So that's why this Vedic science, which is I think which is most profound and most scientific, and probably it is not created by the human mind, it is revealed by some agencies of nature through meditation or through whatever way. But its relevance is in the, you can find it all parts of Central Asia, and excepting later on when the Turks and the Arabs, they invaded these areas, so tried to denigrate these areas. So point of view today, the point of view is the what were the rituals and the practices, religious practices, which are still part of some part of the society in Iran. Although most of them are now leaving religion, because people in the India, in the West, in the America, in the European countries, because of the misuse of power, they are even leaving church. So there are a lot many people, youngsters, who are now. Which is a very sad thing. People are just come out of their system of faith, and that is disconnect with the roots. But what is the basic, what were the basic essence and basic strength of the Iranian culture vis-a-vis Indian culture, which gave it which made it such a vibrant cultural entity of the world?
Uh, we again have to look into the Aryan, initially the Aryan civilizational practices, which were common between the group that went to Iran or the group that went to India Southwest. Now, I said in the beginning, Rig Veda makes a mention of Cambodia.
Yeah.
And Atharvaveda also makes a reference to a region called Cambodia. This
Cambodia.
region, what today we know as the Pamirian and Hindu Kush mountain region,
Mameri.
is west. This all region on other side, I mean the northern side and the southern side, on both sides, this is called Cambodia.
Yes,
Now,
Cambodia.
yes. Now, Rigveda has mentioned it as in context of the geography of early Aryans, but Atharvaveda makes mention of Cambodia as the region where soma, the herb,
Some.
is produced and used for religious uh, practices, like homa or soma. They use those leaves in making the fire, in fire, worshipping the fire, so forth and so on. Now, soma is also said to be a holy drink which the Aryans have been using. And great research has been made by Iranians and Russians to find out what is the herb, what is the type of the herb which was used by the Aryans and called soma or homa. Soma by Sanskrit and homa by Aryans. That is one that has not been decided so far, but the story is there and the narrative is very much in the Vedas.
It
That's
was a
one thing.
Somarasa. We have the word of Somarasa. Somarasa, which probably we think that this is some kind of a beverage used in
Yes,
that part,
beverage.
that
Yes,
beverage.
exactly. A beverage used by the Aryans. And also, uh, in 16th century, the king of Sultan of Herat sent one of his courtiers to India, to Kashmir, told him to go to Kashmir mountains and find out what herbs are there which are very useful in protecting human health. So that man did try to go to Ladakh and other places right up to Himachal Pradesh in search of herbs. So India, Kashmir has been known to the Central Asian scholars as a place of jadoo. Jadoo means some miracles. So medical miracles. That means they perhaps wanted to refer to the mumia. Mumia was produced from the stones of in higher mountains in Ladakh, which was considered a, a health promoting medicine. So, in search of those beverages, those medicines or herbs, they came to India and tried to carry back some of the herbs which they tried in their own way. From that, we have got the word in Kashmir, we use Unani Hikmat. Unani Hikmat. Literally, it means the Greek medication, but it is not actually Greek. Because the Greek soldiers were left in Bactria, they had tried to find out what medicine can be made. It was made. It was called Hikmat Unani, or the Greek medicine, medical practices in Kashmir.
You
That is
have
the
something to
background. So
yes, yes. You have something to say about Druze community the Lebanon, their practices and their similarity with this ancient Indic or Vedic traditions?
Jews, you are talking of Jews, Judah.
Druze,
Yes.
Drus, Druze, and I think the all these traditions, which have been transported to India through the because of culture of the invaders was like that. But somewhere down the line, if we look at let us come down to the topic which you have researched under that great personality, Zabiul Safa, and
Yes.
spirituality. We talk about spiritual dimensions of both the countries. I was yesterday, we had a very big congregation, world congregation of one of the great superior masters, who reinvented pranahuti transmission, tawajjuh. And it is said that during the period of the first Tirthankar, which is oldest, in the oldest religion, that was Jainism, later on become Jainism. But in those times, there was no religion, there was no name to it. So transmission existed then it eloped somewhere down the line, and it went into the many countries, tasawwuf, and it went into the Iran and many other places. I am very much sure, and I know about it. In your $1 story in one of my shows, you said that you were the part, because the Bedil and Bedil, Gali was impressed by Bedil, and your guide told you, don't you know about something about the Bedil, and you have some connection there. Your research material is something based on the spiritual understanding. So let's draw a simile between this ancient spiritual strength of India, or the spiritual content of India, spiritual content or practices of India, which were experiential, more of experiential, less of practicing, uh, and commonality between that and the Iran, or the, you can say.
Yes. When I went to Iran in 1959, I looked for a guide for my PhD. I had to find out a guide, and under his guidance, I had to do my doctoral duty.
Yes.
Fortunately, somebody in Indian embassy in Tehran at that time, he helped me and took me to Professor Zabiullah Safa, who was the most eminent professor in Tehran University and who had great understanding of Indo-Iran relations from ancient times. He
Mm.
was a great scholar, an ocean of knowledge. He accepted me and he told me, I requested him to tell me any topic on which I should work. He said, you work on Indian Sufism. So I said, sir, I'm a young scholar. I'm very young, as I was just 23, 24 at that time. And I have not read much about Sufism and Sufi philosophy. It's a very important subject, but I have not read it. Could you give me some simpler topic? Then he, very angrily, almost angrily, he said, if you Indians will not study your Sufis and your mystics, who will study them? Take Vedil, go and read Vedil, and you will understand. Indian
Uh-huh.
world will understand Sufism from the point of view of Vedil. So I heard Vedil's name for the first time. So thereafter, I went and I started my work. With God's grace, I was successful in finding Basil's works in Tehran Library, University
Bedil,
Library,
yeah.
and elsewhere, and I studied on Sufism in Tehran. To my great surprise, I came to the conclusion that Sufism of Iran had great impression from Vedantic theory
Yes.
of Sufism. So this was a I talked to Dr. Safa. He said, yes, exactly. I wanted you to explore this. That was my reason, because he himself had studied about Upanishads, etc. So, in this discourse, we
Draw
came to the
parallels.
conclusion. We came to the conclusion that Iranian Sufism has two branches. One is the original Sufis, the original mystics who
Originals.
studied who studied from Purana, from Indian mystic works of great
Puranic,
scholars,
Puranic,
Upanishads
Puranic
and
mystery.
other books. And then there was a fake section of Sufis who faked the whole Sufism. And Dr. Professor
Pseudo Sufis.
Safa was highly disturbed by these fake Sufis. He made a distinction between true and fake Sufis. He said a very strange thing to me. He said, two things are the greatest curses to Iran and Islam. Two things. One is the Mongol invasion, the invasion of Mongols. That was a
That's true.
great curse for our religion. And the second is Sufis. And when he said Sufism, I was surprised. I said Sufism is a philosophy which makes a man understand the reality. He said, no, the fake Sufis became politically motivated, and our rulers, satraps, and commanders, and even religious leaders, they misused their
Sufis.
presence and their discourse, and that brought a great distraction, great
Corruption
evil
and distraction,
to Iranian
divergence.
society. So
That's
then I had to look
unfortunate.
for the real and original Sufis. And when I studied them, began to study them, Dr. Safa was very happy that I had tried to trace their connection with India because certain rules, certain principles of Sufism, pure Sufism, and Vedanta are quite similar. The unity of being, for example, Wahdatul Wujud, that means there's unity among the creation of God. And the biggest thing which the original Sufis said, and which the fake Sufis contradicted, was this, which I'm going to explain to you. The, the fake Sufis, of which you have so many here in India also, and in Kashmir,
Political Sufis.
most of them are fake. Most of them are fake. I say
Political Sufis is the
authoritatively.
right word also. Political Sufis.
Yes, political Sufis who politicize Sufism. Now, there's a big ideological gap. The fake Sufis say that man cannot connect with God Almighty, omnipresent, directly, but he must have an agency to connect him. And the
Yeah.
agency is the Prophet and his word. So if you want to attain the highest pinnacles of Sufism, you have to go
Spirituality.
through the mediator, through the Prophet of Islam. But the original Sufis say, like Rabia, Kujdari, and Sanai, and Attar, and Maulana Rumi, even Rumi, the
Morana Rumi.
greatest of the great Sufis, Rome, Maulana Rumi. He
Vegetarian
said
Sufis.
that, yes, he said there is no need of a mediator between man and God. Man, by introspection, by understanding his own person,
Camera slightly up. Slightly camera up.
he can get connected to God. That was Maulana's philosophy. And then he believed in many other things like Avagavan. Avagavan means resurgence, life
Reincarnation.
after death. Yes, reincarnation, which the normal Sufis, normal Muslims do not agree. But
That's
Maulana
because
said,
of cultural understanding, no? Because they have the culture
yes,
was that, yeah.
he had understood. Rumi said in a verse, he said, I'll recite the Persian verse, Hafsado no Kalib Didam. I have seen 970 forms. Hum to sabza barha ruidam, like the turf sabza. Ma'am, I have come again to life. As a turf, turf is not visible during winter when there is snow. It dries up, it finishes. But when spring comes, it again rises. So no sado haftad kalib didam. I have seen 970 forms. Hum sabza barha ruidam. I have been born and reborn like the turf. So these are some of the original ideas of Sufism, which original Sufis preached. And when Mir Sayyid Ali Hamadani came to Kashmir for the first time in 1339, 1390, something like that,
90 years.
he found that the rishis of Kashmir, the Hindu rishis of Kashmir, were perfect in their Shaivistic philosophy of unity of being, the unity of Wahdatul Wujud. So
Yes.
therefore, he, instead of taking up cudgels with rishis, he owned them. He owned them and appreciated their philosophy, telling
That's
them
why
that we also believe in
Nondarishi also,
God's unity.
which is,
That
yeah.
is that is the connection.
That is. I mean, there were genuine Sufis will definitely. It has a great resemblance. And tell me something about the Bedil. Bedil was very much, impressed, and
Oh,
rather Ghalib was impressed by Bedil because Ghalib's kalam sometimes Aham Brahmosi and other dimensions of the spiritual journey, which is being, used in many spiritual sciences and taught here, practiced here, and very profound ones. But then I was trying to root out that where from Ghalib, because Ghalib in many of his couplets, somewhere down the line there is a transcendence, there's a Brahmosi states, there are many other states. So I really wanted to know what is the reason that one fine morning somebody told me that it is because of Bedil, and because his
yes.
guru, he was impressed by Bedil. Yeah.
Iqbal was once asked who is the greatest of great poets of India, Persian poets. He said Bedil, Abdul Qadir Bedil is the greatest.
Greatest Bedil.
Bedil, Abdul Qadir Bedil, was from one Barlas tribe. A tribe is called Barlas in Central Asia. And
Okay.
he had come from that tribe. He was descended from that tribe. So he was a and the Barlas are soldiers. They are most of them are military men, military professions. Their profession, their tribal professions, militarism. So, but he became a poet. He became a philosopher, which is in contradiction to what his parents were practicing. That is the army and the soldiery. Bedil is perhaps the greatest uh, exponents of the purest of pure philosophy of Sufism, which is the great Sufis of Iran and Arabia. They contemplated and they preached. He is the greatest representative of them. Bedil was a true Sufi in the sense that Aurangzeb, during his times, the ruler of India was Aurangzeb. He
Yes.
sent him twice a messenger to come to his court. Bedil
Okay.
refused. Bedil said, I am a Sufi and I am a poet. I have nothing to do with kings and their rules and their power. I am an ordinary subject of the ruler, and I have no need to go to him. So he refused. He was not punished. He was respected. He was respected by the society of his times. But
But
Mirza Shukla Khan Ghalib,
Dara Shikoh had some connection with Bedil, probably Dara Shikoh. I have heard somewhere
Dara,
that, yeah,
not
translation.
direct but indirect. Dara
In the,
Shikoh was the son of the eldest son of Shah Jahan, and he was very much impressed by by Upanishads, and he wrote the book which is called Sirri Akbar in Persian. This was translated from Persian into English by Dr. Tarachand, who happened to be our first ambassador to Iran after independence. So Sirri Akbar is the I may say I have read it, and I will say it is the Sanskrit translation of Vedanta, Vedanta
oh,
Upanishad
he's done a
philosophy.
great work. Great work.
Yes, and this book had tremendous impact on Bedil also. So Bedil gave a new interpretation of consciousness and self-introspection. On
Yeah.
these topics, he gave a great Bedil. Uh, for example, I'll recite a verse. सितमस अगर हवसत कशत कि सैर सर्वो समंदरा तुझे गुंच कम न दमी दई दर दिल कुशा बक चमन दरा पैना फहाए खुजस्तबू बपसंद जहमत जुस्तजू बस बख्याल जुल्फ़े गिरह करो बखुतंदरा. He says, don't be tempted to go to gardens, to go to beautiful places. Don't be tempted by them. Go inside. You are inside in yourself. You will find the finest garden, finest flowers, and finest nafa. Nafa is the what you get from a that gives a sweet smell, nafa. So he said, all that you want, all the beauties that you want, all the power that you want is hidden within your own self. Try to go deep into your own self. Search your own self. Who am I? Where am I? Where from have I come? Where have I to go? How I have to conduct myself in life? This is what Bedil says.
Seeking.
That is why Ghalib called him the Bedil Daryai Besahil. He is an ocean without a
Sure.
without any boundless ocean.
Boundless.
Bankless ocean, boundless ocean. This is what Ghalib said. And then he said that whatever of philosophy, of Sufism I have learned, I have got it from Bedil. Oh, Bedil was a great son. Bedil was, I will tell you a short story about Bedil.
Yes,
There was a
please.
discourse in his times, there was a discourse about Sufism, and Bedil was also called there. He was there. And during that discourse, somebody said some bad things about Bedil and his clan, Barlas.
Okay.
And Bedil objected to him. And there was an altercation, and Bedil took out the dagger from his back, from the pocket of his gown. He took out a dagger. He said, I am first a soldier and then a soldier. Imagine this. So, because he came Barlas, he was in Persian, he said, Man aval Turkam. I am first a Turk soldier, and then I am a Sufi. So this means that he knew what his genes were. He knew what his parents were, but
Oh,
then he preferred to be a Sufi than to be a soldier. This is a impact of Upanishads on
Upanishads, because of under the rule of
yes,
impression.
Upanishad. On there are two. One is Bedil, the other poet is Bastami.
But
Bayezid Bastami. Bastami is in Khorasan, in Iran, in eastern Iran. There's a town called Bastam. And one man named Bayezid Bastami, and Bedil. These are the two directly impacted by Upanishads.
Okay. So in a way, I mean, in ancient times we were one and we were connected, and over the passage of millennia and somewhere down the line, at some point of time, certain things happened, an opportunity came in, and then they were able to read Upanishads
Well,
and go to the Vedas, and
there has been great interaction, intellectual, ideological, cultural, great interaction between the Central Asia, West Asia, and India in the past.
they say that like Galib says, न था कुछ तो खुदा था, कुछ न होता तो खुदा होता, डुबोया मुझको होने ने, न होता मैं तो क्या होता. So this is a concept, this cannot be other than the Vedic concept. And I mean, it is sometimes you explore yourself and you reach there, Khuda is there, and that is the whole eternity is there. It's an endless, it is like Brahm. It's like Brahm. So anyway, I mean, there are many ways we can look at it, many scholarly ways. But one thing I wanted to ask you, because you lived in the modern Iran, I have many Iranian friends here. Even sometimes whenever I used to walk during my theater days and during my, we inherit some looks. I mean, sometimes people used to call me, "Sir, are you Iranian?" I said, "No, I'm not Iranian. I'm a Kashmiri." And but I have seen Iranian people so generous, so full of life, so full of blossom, and so full of exuberance, and which is common with some of us also. And I do not know, has dogmas of the religious dogmas ever affected their society? Why it is so different from rest of the world, where the dogmas of religion has taken over? What is the honest view, because you witnessed it very closely in your times?
Yes, sir. I'm generally asked a question by my friends like you and others. They ask me, how did it happen that we in Kashmir, our ancestors, learned Persian language? They became masters of Persian language. So they were
Naturally.
scholars of Sanskrit, but they adopted Persian. They wrote prose, they wrote poetry, they wrote epics, and great writers. How did it happen? Now, my answer is from a historical point of view. You see, Persian language, if you are a polyglot, if you know many languages, you will see that Farsi language is the sweetest language
It's
among
very beautiful.
Aryan language branches. Sweetest. It is sweet for two reasons. Number one, its grammar is very simple, very. No language has a grammar simpler than that of Farsi. We have only two tenses in Farsi, so it's very simple. Number two, it's very sweet because it is a language of human dignity, human respect, and human culture. That in Persian language, in Persian literature, you will never, nowhere find levity. I mean,
Oh,
subhuman utterances, nowhere. It's a language of decency, of culture, of philosophy.
eloquence.
Yes,
Eloquence.
great writer, Maulana Rum, Sadi, Hafiz, others, all, one after another, a large number of people, poets, writing of philosophy, writing of freedom, writing of human dignity, not of clashes, not of conflicts. That's the second thing.
Not
You love.
parochiality, narrowness,
And,
nothing.
and when the Sultan's rule began in Kashmir and Persian became the official language, our ancestors adopted this language. They were very much surprised. The Sultans were surprised that these Kashmiri Pandits can write and speak far better Persian than our own selves. And Nandram, one of our people, he went and became prime minister in Kabul,
Yes.
in Afghanistan. Uh,
And
so
these brute Afghans, I mean, how could they, I mean, deal in the best possible, best demeanor with this, the such a sophisticated and such a beautiful and such a lovely language as Persian? Yeah.
yes, that's one. And and the second thing is that Iran is not what you see it today under the rule of Ayatollahs, a theocratic regime. One of the greatest travesties and tragedies of contemporary history is that Iran became a theocratic regime, which it never was. Iran had two mighty monarchies. Number one of
Tell me.
Achaemenians and number two of Sasanians. After Sasanian monarchy, Arabian Islam came to Iran. Arabs came with their swords and horses. They captured Iran and they tried to convert Iran into Islamic,
Religion.
to Islamic religion.
Different religion.
But one thing which we miss, which ordinary student does not know, is that Iran never became truly Islamic.
By culture. By practice, it's okay.
Yes, they stuck to their ancient culture
Culture.
and
That's important.
civilization, cultural traits and their civic
They
traits.
never changed.
So,
Like
the,
Indonesia.
yes, that is essentially the Avistic culture, their manners, habits, mating, poetry, arts, sciences, decoration, beauty, clothing, dressing, talking, exchange of ideas between people. The Iranians they will never talk in a angry mood or in an animical mood. They will never talk. So we have to learn that Iran is in my article, one article I wrote addressing President Trump that Iran is not Venezuela. You must
It's
try
not
to
Venezuela. It's a
understand.
civilization. It's a
It's a
civilization.
great
It's a
civilization
big
like India.
civilization. It's
Yes,
like
one of the
India. It's
world's
like
greatest civilization and compact
yeah,
civilization,
compact,
not divided civilization. They have maintained this. You go to
homogeneous.
the Iranian house, it is all flowers and scent from top to bottom, cleanliness, beauty, talk,
Beauty,
nature. The Iranian woman are
celebration of
perhaps the
life.
most sophisticated woman in the world in their
Yeah.
talk, in their behavior, in their
Very
approach,
elegant, very elegant,
treatment,
and
and yes,
very liberal also, very
highly
liberal
liberal, highly liberal. So this is a country of culture.
country of tradition. So it is, yes,
Yes,
very right. I mean,
it
all
is
the
something else. Why did they become a theocratic state in 1979? That's a different
autocracy.
story, and this is
That's a
not the
different story.
occasion for me to talk about that.
Now we should
It
not.
is a
It's about,
fluke.
yeah.
It's a fluke in long history of Iran. Iran will become great Iran again very soon.
And I'm talking about our. We have such a learned scholar like you here on the studio. I really wanted to know that because we have a shared ancestry, shared traditions, we respected and loved the agencies of nature. We worshipped all these things. Despite of change of religion, it's okay. Caste, color, religion, it changes, but culture doesn't change. So, in contemporary, apart from the political upheavals which is happening across the globe, it's a global phenomenon. There are no permanent friends and no permanent enemies. So everything what survives is the opportunity. But then again, Indo-Iranian relations in the contemporary times, you being a kind of an ambassador, a cultural ambassador, kind of a bridge as a scholar. So what are your visions and what are your thoughts and what are your expectations of Indo Iranian relationship in future or contemporary times?
You see, Nehru wrote in his book, he said that the first and foremost country with which we have closer cultural and civilization relations is Iran, is what Nehru wrote.
Yeah.
But I have lived in Iran for a long time, and I have moved among literary and intellectual circles in Iran, professors and journalists and media persons and all that. And I understand that their understanding of Indo-Iranian relations is far beyond the the hiccups of political relationship. In
Oh,
political relationship, there are hiccups sometimes, but
hiccups.
hiccup is a temporary phase. This happens, this goes on, but the essential connectivity which we have is culture, is civilizational, is historical. They understand it, we understand it, and that I am sure my own experience says that when more rational thinking develops on both sides in India and in Iran. More rational thinking, more historical thinking, the greater expanse of civilization relationship unfolds before our eyes, then we will be very close to Iran in times to come. We
And
have to
India,
work together with them. We are great nation. India is a great nation. Iran
and
is a
so is
great,
Iran, is a
great
great
nation.
ancient
These two
civilization.
nations can never live apart. In modern times, it is not on oil, only oil. It's not only business that matters between the two countries. You have the larger picture before you, and
We are the
Iranians are aware of
organic
it,
territories. Yeah.
especially when I was in Tehran, when I finished my PhD doctorate, Dr. Safa asked me, if you know Sanskrit, we will appoint you here. We want to have a chair for Sanskrit studies.
It is a
You
fact.
are. I said, sir, I don't know Sanskrit. I can't say the untruth. I don't know. You find somebody who is well versed in Sanskrit. So they have still the chair of Sanskrit is in Tehran University. It exists, and the connectivity is it sometimes gets submerged under political differences. But those differences are very temporary, very short lived. They are removed with the passage of time.
Transitory है.
Yes, the connectivity is of great importance. Those two civilizations and our relations with Iran disproves the theory of war of civilizations. It disproves that because this is the connectivity of civilizations, not the war of civilizations.
It's not
We are
war.
connected to Iran. We have to live together.
We
We
have
have
perennial connection.
bonds. So
Yeah.
where from does the conflict come? It doesn't come. Politics is a very small thing. It comes and goes. It doesn't matter. In 49 years or 50 years in of theocratic rules, a very small,
It
minor,
comes and
it's a
goes. Yeah.
drop in the
It'll,
ocean. It's
it's
nothing.
like sine waves. They come and go, the
Yes,
up and down, up and down. It goes on. But culture
that
is a
happens.
something. Culture is which will remain forever, connecting and
Exactly.
enlightening and
Exactly.
connecting.
Yes, sir.
There are some traditions here. We are almost nearing to. I know that it has been a long time, but really being with you is a kind of. I mean, I really don't want to depart, but yes, we have our constraints of the podcast as well. Uh, there are some traditions, small traditions here and there. I know Homa, Havan, all these things, sun worshipping. They are all respecting the agencies of nature, and I think it is rightly so because respecting the agencies of nature only can enlighten you, make you clean. Once you are clean, you can definitely go to the higher self and search from something within, which is God, or you may call whatever. But there are some traditions I know even in Kashmiri Pandit society also. There is Navre. So we have that thal we create that Navroz like thal. So I have seen there was a
Nowruz.
lady, Iranian lady. She told me that we do the similar kind of a thing during this crop season in our country as well. I don't know. You can just throw some light on that
Yes.
tradition, some tradition.
In I mean Kashmiri Hindus,
Yeah,
or the Aborigines, original citizens of Kashmir,
all are original
and
citizens, but
who
now
claim
others think that they are not, but they are also original. They are Hindus. They were ex Bhattas, and we
yes,
are continued Bhattas. They are all Bhattas. We are all Bhattas.
they are well. That's all right.
Yeah.
But I speak of Kashmiri Pandits because they have maintained some of the traditions which they inherited from their ancestors.
Yes.
And Nowruz is one of the traditions which Kashmiri Pandits have been celebrating. Each family in Kashmir are Kashmiri Hindus. Now, one tradition, as mentioned in Avesta, is Nowruz. In Avesta, the name is Nok. Nok in Avesta means new.
New.
Rocha means rose, the new day, or the advent of the new year. So it's
Advent
called
of the
Nowruz. And we Kashmiri Pandits call it Nowruz. Nowre is that's Hindu calendar according to Hindu calendar, but this is Nowruz according to Iranian calendar,
Iranian
which
calendar.
falls on 21st of March every year.
Hmm.
So 21st of March is also the equinox. That is when the days and the nights are of equal length on
Equal
21st
balance,
March.
equal timings.
Equinox. Yes. So this is celebrated in Iran, and the celebration is called Haft Seen. Haft means seven.
Hmm.
Seen means seven things, seven articles whose name begins with S sound.
Okay.
Yes, like
What are these articles?
yes, with S sound. Samak. Samak is a herb. S sound. So Haftin means seven articles, seven things, which whose name begins with S sound. They are put in a platter, and then they are kept there in early morning. One of the members of the family takes it up and wakes up all the members and tells them to have a look at it, and that also contains the new calendar, the Jantari, the calendar
Helmet.
for the new year. So they make some offering on it, and they just worship it,
Uh,
pay condescensions to it, and feel happy, express happiness for the new
yes.
year to come, to dawn. This
Same is in
tradition
Kashmiri.
has been taken up by the Kashmiri Pandits, and they have made a slight change in that. They don't call it Hafsin, but they say Nowruz Thal Burn.
Thalbar.
Nowruz Thal Burn. Yes, to fill the platter of Nowruz. So they do not stick to half seen, but they have on a bit of milk, some walnuts, some coins,
Curd,
some grains
curd,
of rice,
flowers.
and
Hmm.
something like that. And uh,
Jantri.
uh, yes, they put it there, and then the calendar, Jantari,
Calendar. Jantri.
new calendar.
The same.
In the morning, one of the younger members, he takes it up and takes to all the members, shows all the members who
Yeah.
bow to it, who say pranam to it, and they make some offering to it, and then the nuts are taken and thrown into the river Vatista. A
Resurgent.
light is yes, a candle is burnt and put on that grass bedding and put on the water. So this is how they celebrate Nowruz. The
Similar.
point is that Nowruz is the day on which in Avesta it is mentioned that on this day, Roj Nowruz,
Hmm.
Yam az Peymanak Biyavar, this is I'm talking Avesta. in Avesta, there's a shloka that Roche Nauruj Jam Paimanak Diyawat. On this day, Jamshed, which I said in the beginning, Jama
Jamshid.
is the deity, is the god. He brought Paimanak. Paimanak means measurement. Measurement in the world. This is what Avesta says. Now, interpretation in the Vandida is that Paimanak means the distribution of time, days and nights,
Paiman.
weeks, months, years, ions, so forth and so on. This measurement was brought by Jamsheda on this day. Therefore, we worship, we pray on that day. We pay homage to Jamsheda on this day. So you have the calendar, you have the minutes, seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, so forth and so on. This is the Paimana. And also, Paimana also means the in space also. You use Paimana. Then in length, you also use the Paimana. In currency, you use the Paimana. Paimana means measurement. It means
Measurement.
measurement.
Paiman to measurement. We speak
Yes, it
Paiman.
means measurement. That is the religious importance of Nowruz to Iranians and to us also in
I think this
Andalus.
is more of a cultural, beautiful
Yes, it's a
cultural.
culture. Yes,
Yeah,
it's for
beautiful
culture.
cultural. Religion is something. It has no more remained that kind of a Puritanian word now in contemporary times. So nice of you, sir. We had a wonderful conversation. There were many things, many things we wanted to discuss, but then again, almost 1 hour, 2 hours have passed by. So we'll go for the final thought for the listeners, and I play a bit of youngsters like it because there are many seekers among youngsters also who really want to have these scholarly conversations, visit these sometimes, and they write to me sometimes, and maybe in future they may all be visiting. So rapid fire, it is in the lighter tone we play. So most inspiring place that Kashi Nath Pandita, Padma Shri Kashi Nath Pandita ji feels, which is the most inspiring place for him. City, you can say, country or city.
Thank you, Kol Saab. I'm very obliged to you that you gave me the opportunity of speaking some of my ideas which I have read, which I have experienced to the people for the large community of readership. You are doing a wonderful work. I know. This is my second or third interview with you.
Third
I
one.
don't remember. But you are perhaps what I may say a great contemporary encyclopedia.
Oh,
You are
that's it.
collecting information from contemporary persons who are known for their various skills, arts, and abilities and proficiencies. It is all coming at one place, and you are the treasurer of a rich treasury which you have collected. I thank you very much, and I
So grateful.
appreciate you and the whole
I'm really
community,
grateful.
the whole human society should recognize that you have brought thousands of years of old culture down to present day into your recordings. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. God
I'm
bless
grateful.
you, and
I'm so
God bless
grateful.
the listeners who have shown patience in listening to what I have said. It's
I'm
not
really grateful.
purely academic. It is something personal. We are part of this history. We are part of
Yes.
this civilization. We speak
Breathing.
many things from our own experiences. So
Yes.
our community is an ancient community also, as India is an ancient community, and we are proud that Kashmir has such a great background of culture and civilization. Thank you
Traditions.
very much, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you very much. I really wanted to end it with some rapid fire. I really want to know the best place you like, most inspiring personality you have, you feel that you have. You can give two.
You
Historic,
mean
non-historic, contemporary.
you mean
Yeah.
contemporary personality or the
Yes,
past?
yes, contemporary, contemporary.
My teacher, Dr. Safa, is a great personality.
All great. What an honesty.
I-
My goodness.
yes,
I think I.
I am the luckiest man, perhaps, who has had the opportunity of uh, doing my doctoral degree. And I can't tell you what ocean of knowledge he was. What ocean of knowledge he
He
was.
died in
And
exile in Germany, no? He died in
yes,
exile.
when there was revolution in Iran, he left Iran
Oh,
because he was a man of learning, and went to he went to seek asylum in Germany, and uh, he fell sick in the last towards the last fag end of his life. I was once in Geneva, and he traveled from Geneva to Germany to meet Dr. Safa once again. When I went, I was very much shocked to know that he was in a state of coma, and the doctors have put him in a uh, glass cover, something like a glass cover,
yeah.
and nobody was allowed to see him. I saw him from the glass, and
Mhm. Paid your
I
regards.
bowed my head. I shed a few tears that my teacher, my guide, and the great historian of this time, who wrote a history of
Something is gone out. Oh my God.
with that, we come to the end of this.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, something went wrong. So
So thank
there
you
was some.
very much.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Thanks a lot, sir. I'm really grateful, very much honored that you came to my show. And I just want. I will not ask many more questions, but I will simply ask in my rapid fire any message to the youth of the country and youth anywhere, because youth are same. They are innocent, they are young. I mean, and they are facing the challenges of nature, challenges of ecology, challenges of conflict, entire world. So a personality like you who has worked in such enlightening environments and probably given your heart and blood and your role as a human rights activist, my goodness, there are endless things which can be unraveled about you. But partly we have covered that in my previous this conversations as well. What is your message? What message do you really want to give to the youth?
I will say, I will advise the youth to know their history, know their past, read the
Roots.
books, meet the learned men, know who you are, what your status is, and improve yourself, rise to the occasion, and prove that you are the real descendants of great civilization, great humanism. That's the message I would talk to. Don't get divided into small things,
Small
distracted by small
racial
things. Have a
conflict,
wider look, have a broader
religious,
look. The
racial
whole humanity was
is
Devam
one.
Kutumbakam. Understand what it means. The whole universe, whole world is a family. That is
Yes.
what the youth
Vasudev.
should adopt.
Thank you. Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you.
sir. It was my pleasure, great pleasure that you visited. Once again, I'm honored. May you have a long, long life. One just question, mischievous question from a youngster or a friend, you can say whatever. The what's happening to this? Disconnect, हो रहा है? This is disconnected now, probably. Anyway, let's close it down and probably Dr. Saab has there's some snag at his place, but we have completed the session somewhere down the line. I'm really delighted that he came at this age and he's a living legend, and may God wish him very longer and brighter years. And he's such a beacon of light, and we must all going to these mediocre things and mediocre understandings and WhatsApp University. It is better to listen to such a great legends who have created this wealth and understanding the humanity, the linguistic understanding, the parallels between India and the rest of Central Asia and the West Asia, and his work as a human rights activist. And he's probably 90 and yet he's working all the time. He's full of zenith of energy. And certainly he's a great assist, one of the tallest living legend we have in this part of the country. And really, I'm really grateful that he came. So let's call it a day, and let's finally complete this. And I'll just, before leaving, I will again recite a couplet from this Phasm of Faz. It is about दिल में अब यूं तेरे भूले हुए नाम आते हैं, दिल में अब यूं तेरे भूले हुए नाम आते हैं, जैसे बिछड़े हुए काबे में सनम आते हैं, एक 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 करके हुए जाते हैं तारे रोशन, मेरी मंजिल की तरफ तेरे कदम आते हैं। रक्स से माई तेज करो, साज का लाई तेज करो, सोए माई खाना सफीरान हरम आते हैं। कुछ हम ही को नहीं एहसान उठाने का दिमाग, कुछ हम ही को नहीं एहसान उठाने का दिमाग, वो तो जब आते हैं माइल बकरम आते हैं। और कुछ देर न गुजरे शब फुरकत से कहो, दिल भी कम दुखता है, वो याद भी कम आते हैं। Thank you very much and good night. Have a wonderful time. Next time in the February we will meet again and have our February guests. Till then, good night, namaskar, Shabba Khair, best wishes and Jai Hind.